Start the recording now.
Yeah, recording on कर दी मैंने. Okay. Now, as we have studied till the last class that what is the basics of profits and gains from business and profession, what section 28 tells, what we have seen in section 28, section 145 in reference to calculation of business income. We have seen the direct and the indirect method. Now, before moving into specific expenditures or expenses, there is a difference between expenditure and expense. So before moving into specific items, we'll see some general points that you should keep in our mind so that at times when you see a particular expense, you need not to recall all its provisions before deducting it. Okay. The first point that we should keep in our mind that capital expenditure shall not be allowed to deduct because any capital expenditure cannot be written under PL. All capital expenditures are transferred to balance sheet. Then if you have somehow written any capital expenditure under PL format, you have to remove it. Now, if the question says that although this is a capital expenditure but needs to be treated as a revenue expenditure, then as I told you in the earlier classes too, question Bhagwan hota hai. If it tells that you have to do this, leave all the provisions, forget everything, do it. Okay, so what I have written, unless and until expressly allowed. On the other hand, all revenue expenditures are allowed. So what we need to check, if we see any expenditure, first we need to find that whether it's a capital expenditure or revenue expenditure. If it is a revenue expenditure, then it's okay. If it is a capital expenditure, we need to remove it. Now, again, if you see that a particular expense is a capital expenditure, please do check the adjustments, whether it is expressly told to you that this item needs to be treated as revenue expenditure in the question. Okay. The second, after deciding that it's a revenue or capital expenditure, we know that revenue expenditure can be written under PL and can be allowed as expense. We need to check again that whether such expenditure is related to the business or not. It may happen that you have classified an expenditure as a revenue expenditure, but this revenue expenditure is a personal expense of the owner. So after classifying expenses as capital and revenue, you need to check whether the revenue expenditures are relating to business or not. Okay, so any expenditure for non-assessable business is not allowed as deduction. Expenditure for running agriculture income is not allowed. Now, why they use the term non-assessable? Non-assessable means those business on which taxes are not to be charged. So if incomes are not taxable, then expenses shall also be not allowed as deduction. Okay. Now, expenditure must be incurred by the SSC for its business, as I told you. Now, see, I've written a note here. In case where the SSC incurs expenditure for its own business, the mere fact that the benefit of such expenditure is enjoyed by some other person cannot deny the admissibility of the expenditure. Now, what this means? This means that suppose a car was purchased by a business. Now, the car is being used by its general manager for some touring purpose. He went from his office to his home, and the car again picks some of the employees from one place to another. And you do some repair expenses on the car. As we know that repairing is a revenue expenditure, it needs to be incurred from time to time, and the benefit of it doesn't last for more than 1 year. Now, as the expenditure was a revenue expenditure, you cannot say that the car is being used by general manager for his personal purpose. It cannot be allowed as deduction. You need to check whether such expenditure is for the business purpose or not. If it is, then shall be allowed as deduction under expense head. The next, No deductions are allowed for anticipated losses. As I told you that provisions and doubtful debts cannot be allowed. Next, no one can earn profit from himself. This is what we call as notional in profit. Next, expenditure tainted with illegality is disallowed. Now, we know that illegal incomes are taxable. We don't have, we don't follow any method where we can make segregation between legal and illegal incomes. Incomes of any nature, whether it's legal or illegal, both expenses can be, both incomes can be charged to tax. But when we start finding profit, we need to deduct expenditure also from this incomes. Here, government made a restriction that expenditure relating to illegal business cannot be allowed. That means income from illegal business is taxable at its gross value, whereas incomes from legal business are taxed at its net value. Okay. Now, today we'll start with this specific deductions. After section 28, the next section in the scene is section 29. Now, section 29 doesn't tells us anything specific. It only tells us कि sir, we know the methods under the methods of computation under section 145. We know what are the incomes as per section 28. Now, all the expenses that can be deducted from this income are covered under section 30 to 43 DB. तो आपको एक्सपेंसेस के लिए सेक्शन 30 से 43 DB को देखना होगा. ओके, तो अब हम यहां से स्टार्ट करेंगे कि सर ये सेक्शन 30 टू 43 DB है क्या, सेक्शन 30 क्या है, 31 क्या है, 32 क्या है. अब हमें इनमें मूव करना है. ओके, तो नाउ फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल the first item in the sequence is rent, rates, taxes, repairs and insurance of building. मतलब बिल्डिंग का रेंट, रेट्स, टैक्सेस, रिपेयर्स एंड इंश्योरेंस की हम बात करें. ये सारी ये पांचों ही एक्सपेंसेस बिल्डिंग से जुड़े हैं. तो इनके बारे में क्या कहा गया सेक्शन 30 में. सेक्शन 30 ने पहला पॉइंट कहा, इफ यू सी द बैरर एक्ट्स, आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा कि सेक्शन 30 क्या कह रहा है. ठीक, after thorough reading of this sections, we found these points and I made a point out of it. Okay, so section 30 first of all says that the building is to be used for the purpose of business or profession. Now the building in respect of whom you are paying the rent or you are paying the rates or you are paying the taxes or you are incurring the repair expenses or you are insuring it should be used for the business purpose. यहाँ पे एक restriction नहीं था. However, building is not exclusively used for the purpose of business or profession. तो आपको जो deductions मिलेंगे वो fair proportion के basis पे मिलेंगे. We must have seen at times that some of the peoples, what they do, they buy a land, they construct a house. In the ground floor, they create a showroom or a shop or a or something similar type of things where they can do some business, and they resides on first floor and the second floor of the building. Okay, in such cases, we see that the expenses that have been incurred on the building cannot be totally allowed as deduction under business and profession, because you are using it for your home purpose, for your household purpose also. The government said that yeah, it can be allowed, but on proportionate basis. Like for example, if you have 3 floors and you are using 1 floor for business and 2 floor for residence, then it should be allowed as 2:1 ka ratio mein. Okay. The next, rent paid to proprietor is disallowed. Remember, because you cannot pay something to yourself. ऐसा हो सकता है क्या कि हर मंथ के फर्स्ट तारीख को हम बोलें अपने ही वॉलेट से पैसे निकालेंगे and will keep it in the upper pocket of your shirt, and you'll tell you yourself, sir, keep this. This is your pocket money for the month. Can you do so? Tell me, Ronak. Can you do so? No,
No,
we
sir.
can't do.
Yes, sir.
So, but if the rent is paid by a firm to its partner, then it is allowed, because now the payer and the payee are different. The payer is the firm, which is the collection of all the partners, and the person who is receiving the amount is an individual partner or one or two partners. Then it is allowed as expenditure. So rent के केस में क्या याद रखना, that if rent is paid to an outsider, normally allowed. If paid to a partner, allowed. But if paid to a proprietor, disallowed. Third point, only current repairs are allowed as deduction. That means the repairs that have been incurred in the current previous year, because we know that repairs are revenue expenditure and their benefits doesn't last for more than 1 year. In such case, we also know that the expenditure that we are deducting must have been incurred in this year only, because any expenditure that have been incurred in the last year, but the benefit of which is carried to the current year, is actually revenue in nature, sorry, capital in nature. Okay, so what we see, capital repairs are not allowed as deduction. Now, some of you may have a question, sir, can repair be in the nature of capital expenditure? I said yes. When a major repair is being done to any machine, which increases its life or uh, performance, we call it to be a capital repairs. Okay, last, by, by virtue of section 43B, rates and taxes relating to a building like land revenue, like municipal tax, this all are deductible. Is it clear? You just guys just copy this part, huh? Just copy section 30 now. Guys, have you copied it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's move into the next part. Uh, it's section 31. Now this section is somehow very similar to what we have studied just now, section 30, but this time it is related to what? Here we cover three different assets. First is plant, machinery, and furniture. Okay, you can see I marked machine as 1, plant as 2, and furniture as 3. These are the three assets for which we will be studying this section 31. And here the expenses that are covered are repairs and insurance. Okay, we'll be covering the first expense as A, repairs, and the second expense as B, which is insurance. Now the time we study this, you'll see it is somehow a replication of section 30, which now we are seeing in terms of machinery, plants, and furniture. This section says that the repairs and insurance of plant, machinery, and furniture are allowed as deduction. Now, the points that we need to keep in our mind while deducting these items: the first, the asset must be used for the purpose of business. That what just now we have seen this as a general note. Next, only the current general repairs are allowed as deduction. Okay, only the current repairs are allowed as deduction. The next, only repairs of machinery, plant, and furnitures is covered in this section. If we are incurring any rent or we are taking these items on rent, then we have to look for section 37 subsection 1. मैं आपको बताऊंगा in section 37 subsection 1 they again told us that if machinery, plant, and furnitures are taken on rent, their rents can be allowed as deduction, but that is covered in section 37, not in section 31. Okay, so rents are also deductible, but they are deductible in some other sections. Now, if we see this note, however, if an asset is not exclusively used for the business purpose, we again know that, sir, if it happens, then fair proportion. Take the proportion in which you are using it shall be followed. If you are using it more for business purpose and lesser for personal use, then accordingly it should be allowed as deduction. Okay, just copy this section 31 with the note. Guys, have you completed this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we'll be moving into the next part. The next heading is depreciation. Section 32. Now, I think you must have studied depreciation in your previous semesters, and I think many of you may think yourself to be master in this depreciation part because you have studied this in your class 11, you have studied this in your class 12 again, and then finally in, I think in the first semester you have studied this. So after studying a particular chapter so much, um, one may have a thought that he knows everything about depreciation. But let me tell you that this is not the depreciation under accounting. It is depreciation as per Income Tax Act. And it is way different from what we have studied in our accountancy. So what we have seen that depreciation is under accounting is not the one that is accepted by Income Tax Act 1961. They have their own method. So now what this says, section 32 provides depreciation on tangible and intangible assets. Now first time we have seen the word depreciation for tangible and intangible assets. Do you know that intangible assets doesn't depreciate? They are amortized or they are depleted. That means the method for intangible assets is amortization and depletion. Only fixed tangible assets except land depreciates, whereas land is an appreciating fixed asset. This is what we have studied in accountancy. But taxation says that depreciation is charged on tangible and intangible assets as well. If an asset is acquired on and after 1st of April 1998. Now, if you have acquired an asset before 1998, then you cannot charge depreciation now because this provision was inserted with effect from 1st April 1998. But the depreciation is allowed only if the following conditions are satisfied. Now, what are the following conditions? Condition number 1, the asset must be owned by the assessee. Now, again, you know this because I think you have studied hire purchase in your accountancy. You know that the person who is the owner of the asset can actually claim depreciation, whereas the person who is not the owner but he is using an asset for some payments, he can only claim such payments as deduction, not depreciation on the same. Okay, now this by this term owner, it doesn't means only the legal owner. It may be a beneficial owner too. So remember, beneficial ownership is more important than legal ownership. Now, what we mean by beneficial ownership, it may happen that a particular asset is owned by you, but I'm using it as a beneficial owner. Government has given that asset to me for my benefits. So in such cases, beneficial ownership is more important than a legal ownership. The next, in case of joint ownership, depreciation is allowed on proportionate basis to all the owners. Next, if it is hire purchase, the buyer can claim depreciation. I think this point was there in your hire purchase system also. Now, the last, in case of Transfer of Property Act, the possessor of an immovable property is also allowed to claim depreciation. even though he is not the registered owner of the property. Now, why this? Suppose there is a house which is owned by a Mr. X. He died and he had two sons, Z and Y. Z was living in US. He has a job in US, and Y is living in India. He's enjoying the property. Now, due to some reason, Z may uh, filed a suit against Y for the division of the immovable property or impartable property. In that case, till the time the case carry on, Mr. Y, neither Mr. Y nor Z will be the actual owner or the legal owner of the property because their name is not there on the registration document of the property. But as Y is the possessor of the immovable property, he may claim depreciation on the same. Point number two, but after ownership, the next thing that you need to check is that the asset must be used for the purpose of business or profession during the previous year. Now, this word use indicates active as well as passive use. Like for example, there are certain assets that are not actually used, but they are kept ready to be used. Like for example, fire extinguisher. We have seen this items in your college. We must have seen that in some places we have some pipes ready to kept for uh, for emergency in case of fire. You must have seen like just like the pipes that are being used by the fire brigades. We have seen such pipes in a particular place installed, but they are not actually used. Like for example, it may happen that you have some fire extinguisher installed at a particular place, but you never got the opportunity to use the same in last 5-6 years. So can't you take depreciation on the same? I said yes, you can take. But remember that the assets must be ready to be used. That means it must be in passive use condition or in active use condition. The next, section 38, we are taking the reference of section 38. If an asset is again partly used for business and private, then again the same thing, proportional depreciation will be allowed. Last, if an asset is let out, if the SSC let out a property to his employee, whereas such letting out supports smooth flow of business. We have already studied this part in our income from house property, that if you are an owner of a property and you are using the property for your own business purpose, that the income from such property shall be charged under the head PGBP. In such case, अगर आपने कोई property let out की है and to your employee so that your business moves smooth, then the rent you received from the employee shall be charged under this head, and the expenses or depreciation of the same building is eligible under section 32. Otherwise, depreciation is not allowed because income from house property doesn't talks about depreciation. Okay, so we'll continue with these things in the next class, where we'll see that how what is the concept of block of asset and how depreciation can be computed.